Good evening, all. Ira Epstein with your Spider ETF stock market wrap-up, and this wrap-up is for the evening of Thursday, the 22nd of August, 2024. You know, it's the end of the Democratic National Convention. Outside of my home, it's lined up with limos and important people, a lot of speakers. And not that I live here, I just happen to be where the cars park. I only live walking distance to the United Center. You can't get there through all this. So far, it's been pretty good. The city's hailing that with so far a lot less problem than was expected. Nowhere near the arrest amounts, nowhere near the amount of protesters, by the way. I want to tell you, protesters in the thousands, not hundreds of thousands, not tens of thousands, thousands. Okay, that's not the same thing that they were looking for. I don't know what that all means. Tonight's their last night to create ruckus, and I'm sure those that want to will. So until you're through with tonight, you're not. We have to keep our eye on tomorrow. It's going to be important. You're going to get new home sales data at 9, but at the same time, we're going to get the Federal Reserve Chair Powell's speech in Jackson Hole. Now, I expect moderation. I don't think that the man's going to tip his hand what they're going to do in September. He's going to say in some manner that the Fed is very pleased that inflation is coming down, that the labor market's more in balance. They're keeping an eye on the data. And how he talks is going to be important, and the key words he uses to show that the Fed is getting ahead of the curve. Now, I'm of the opinion that the Fed's going to go for a quarter-point cut with all that I've seen as of tonight in September. I know that Citi and others are saying 50 basis points because of what they saw with the jobs revision yesterday, the 800,000 loss of jobs. But it still takes you down to a level that's still relatively strong. And generally, if you don't have a panic in the economy, the Fed does things in measured moves. So I can understand a 25 basis point move, but we have a lot of data between August 22nd today and September 18th or so when the meeting is. It's almost a month. I'll keep my options open, but tonight, you know the camp I'm in. We get a cattle on feed report tomorrow for food people. In Canada, the government stepped in tonight. They had a day of strike where two of the main railroads, 80% of the traffic in Canada between those two railroads came to a halt. Now they're forced them back into arbitration. They're going to be running again by Monday. Things will be normal. A lot of people could not get to work in Canada today. It was just one of those things. The government's right to step in, set it up, do the arbitration, and find a way, if the union and the railroads can't do it, that you get them to do something. And it's done before in Canada. These things do happen. So tonight also we heard that Uber is hooking up with General Motors. They're going to take some of the cruise cars, and they're going to go early 2025 back to the fully self-driving car, and probably start charging sometime, they said, in 2025. So Uber fell on the news, and GM went up slightly on the news. Now, what this does for a lot of people that work, if you think about it, for Uber, it's a direct threat to their jobs in areas. Not certainly at this point for everyone. I don't know if that day will ever come. But certainly in select areas, the warning sign is there. Is that a reason to just give up your Uber part-time driving? Of course not. These things come in stages. And if you follow Musk, he hasn't been able to succeed at doing it. Cruise, which did it, they hit a passenger in San Francisco. That person was hospitalized a long time, and they stopped those cars. Now they're ready. They think they found solutions. We'll see. Okay, they got to prove the product. I expected metals to give up some ground today in front of tomorrow's speech. They did it. I thought the stock markets might give up some ground. They did it. And that's because you were very overbought going into tomorrow. Do you honestly think that the Fed chair is going to come out and go bonkers and say, we got to cut right now, things are terrible, we got to get ahead of the curve? He's not going to do that. He's going to say more or less the lines, you know, we're making good progress on inflation. The numbers have been very encouraging. He's going to say that the labor is more in balance, even with the revision that they saw. 170 some odd thousand jobs a month is still good, and it puts the market even more imbalanced than the Fed was thinking about. I don't think that's a sign of a lot of weakness, but I'm looking for the Fed to give us some words that they're moving ahead of the curve, that they're not going to be as data dependent. We'll see what they do. When you take a look at GM, we've had this nice run up. The market's starting to stall a little bit. It is up in the aftermarket, but not a lot. You can see higher lows, higher highs, okay. The market coming up here, and you see where the Bollinger Band is. If it rallies any further, that'll be a resistance point. And if the market starts down, the first support zone would be the old resistance of the 100-day, and then further support at 43.63. And again, you have a market, is it embedded? You need 3 days in a row where the slow stochastics are over 80 to be embedded. You had one today, Thursday. You had one yesterday. Did you have one on Tuesday? You most certainly did. So to me, that means that on pullbacks in the market, I know what I'll be telling my subscribers. In Rivian, I'm still hoping that the market has enough power to get down here. It has the fully bearish embedded reading, and I'm still targeting 1228, 1206 as potential support in the market on a break. It might be a good spot to just pick some up and put it away that you own it for another year or so. Could be one of those areas. In CrowdStrike, I was looking for the Bollinger Band to offer resistance if it can get up there with the embedded reading it is. You heard me say yesterday, excellent management. I think the situation's behind them. Monetary-wise, they have to figure out what it is. They probably have put money on the side for any lawsuits, any damages that they caused with the faulty. I think it was the faulty update, but we'll hear more in court action if they don't settle with their clients. And there's probably settlements going on in terms of your licensing will be this next year. We understand the inconvenience, blah, blah, blah. Who hasn't done that in business? Higher lows, higher highs, still bullish. Breaks are still, in my opinion, looking good. And while we had the market come up in uranium yesterday, it's down today. And again, you aren't able to just stay in a trend. You're fighting a battle. If it was really good, it should have run today to the upside because you've now had 2 days in a row over the 18. The fact that you came through and took out a prior low, you're back into no man's land. In Dow, doesn't act like it wants to get up to the upper Bollinger Band, acts more like a market that's overbought, wants to come back down here and consolidate some of the gain that it's recently done. That's what I think it's going to do. In Linn still came up, and you can see getting up to that upper Bollinger Band. That's where a lot of resistance is going to be. But this is a market that's going to be in the spotlight. Mortgages are down to 6.46 as of today for 30-year fixed. Still not a 6 number. You need to get towards a 6. This is nice that it's 3/4 of a point off its peak, but it's not enough. Once it does that, you probably break out through those highs over time, but not right now, in my opinion. I think you're on a stilt that I'd be careful about here on the home builders up like that. I think a lot of hope and prayer is that the Fed's going to be very aggressive, and there could be some disappointment there. In XLF, the financial services, remember, these companies make money on falling rates. If you go back to the old curve yield, you want a loan, how long is it for? Well, the longer it is, the higher your rate. Yet, I could invest my money and get X amount, and the banks make money on that. That's why this market's staying up like that. Will it embed is going to be the big question for it. I don't understand completely this rally in the industrial sector other than it's hope and prayer that rate cuts get this going. Because every time I see, like the Chicago National Activity Index came out today, a big negative, all right? And they revised down the June number. Today was the July number. No, it's just not that good. So I think it's hope and prayer more than reality. In XLE, we have the energy sector sort of in no man's land. Higher high, lower low, trying to hold support at the 200-day average with resistance at the 18-day. When we look at the gold, I'm looking for a pullback, and I think you're going to go back possibly to 226.65 and have to rebuild the chart from there. The market looks like it's peaking out right where it's at, and I told traders that tomorrow's going to be the key, that you'll make that decision off of after 9 o'clock. SLV pulling back. First stopping spot was the resistance point of the 100-day average. Now that's support. If that gives ground tomorrow with gold and everything, then maybe 25.75. Resistance still a Bollinger Band. In the copper market, very overbought, on a stilt. I can make a strong argument. You want to see how the market does on pullbacks, if it can do that. 41.35 to 40.92. That's much more interesting to me of an entry spot, but it has to get away from being overbought. I wouldn't want to deploy money on that. Not yet. TLT and BND, roll the dice. Go to Vegas, you get a free drink. This is just a gamble on how they're going to react tomorrow. And in the dollar, you're getting a bear market rally, and in the euro, you're getting a bull market break, all off of whatever tomorrow's going to hold in the way of the Fed making a move. Now, I'm going to write about it in the morning. Now, if you haven't gotten ever my full research, I'd like to give it to you for free. You can obviously go in and buy it, but I'll also let you see it for a week to 2 weeks. How do you get it? We'll talk about it. My written commentary looks like this. A lot of graphs, short points, a lot of bullets. I cover everything. I'll give you written buy and sell recommendations, and then I back it up with a morning subscriber video. You'll have access to that, of the chart action and why I'm saying what I'm saying. If it's not there on the chart, I don't do it. It's that simple. So it has to be there on the graph for me to want to do something, and I explain it in detail. I look at both weekly and daily. I show you some of the numbers I use in window envelopes and how I come to those numbers. You get our free QT Mobile. You can put that on your phone. Whenever I put out anything, you'll get a buzz on your phone. You can read the reports, view the videos there if you want, or do it on your computer. IraEpstein.com, free offers, or if you want to just go in and you've had the free offer and it's time for you to do the research, go to IraEpstein.com research. Our different packages are there. I'm Ira. You have yourself a great day, and I will talk to you all at the morning update. I can't wait to do it. See you then.